Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be talking about the Year 2 Key Stage 1 SATs and what this means for the children in the current Year 2 in 2024. So welcome back. We haven't done a video for a little while, but this one is hopefully going to give you some information about the Year 2 SATs that will be coming up this year. So the first thing I want to let you know is that the government changed its guidance for schools on Year 2 SATs tests, and now they are non-statutory. So that means that they are optional. Schools do not have to get the children to sit their Year 2 SATs if they don't want to. But what schools will be sent is they will still be sent the test materials and the papers, because what the Standards and Teaching Agency wants schools to do is that they want them to use the papers not necessarily to give the children a grade or level, but to use them to help with assessment and gap analysis to see what the children know and what they don't know, and use them in that way. So that schools will still be receiving copies of the Key Stage 1 tests, and this will be for reading, grammar, punctuation, spelling and mathematics. If a school has opted out of doing them, they're still able to download these from the Primary Assessment Gateway. So these assessments previously took place in the month of May, and if your school is going to get the children to sit them, I would ask your school that question and ask the teachers that question. And if they do intend to do them, they previously had to do them during the month of May, and it's likely that schools will probably just follow the same protocol. However, other schools may wish to leave the children a little bit more time and therefore try to get the children to do them further on in the year, possibly June. I wouldn't say many schools will get the children to do them towards July, because at that point in the year, the children are very sort of tired and ready for a break. So these papers are 2 English reading papers, 2 maths papers, arithmetic and reasoning, and 2 grammar, punctuation and spelling papers, the first one being spelling and the second one just being on grammar punctuation. So the reading papers, the first one is 30 minutes and the second one is 40 minutes. Although not technically timed like the Year 6 SATs, this is the sort of guidance for the children completing the papers. And the children would do them less in test conditions, more in small groups. Some schools may wish to get the children to sit them all together, but it tends to be that most schools get the children to sit them in smaller groups. There are 2 maths papers, a 20-minute paper, which is arithmetic, and a paper 2, which again not strictly timed, but should take the children about 35 minutes. The grammar papers then, and these were always optional. The schools didn't actually have to report previously on what the children scored in their grammar papers, although it gives the teachers a good understanding of where the children are with grammar. And in Year 6, they are tested on grammar. So it's still a good resource to have, especially when doing a gap analysis of what the children know and what they don't know. But the grammar paper was always optional, and so was the spelling. So how are the levels worked out then? Well, rather than, the teachers never used just the test papers to give the children a level in Year 2. It was always teacher assessment, which meant that they used the test papers plus what the children had done in their classrooms, in their books, during their lessons, to come up with an overall grade for the child. And it would have been one of these 3. So working towards the expected standards. So some schools call this below, but officially in Year 2, when they were given a level, it was working towards the expected standard. And then working at age-related expectations, so the expected standard for a Year 2 child. And then you have working above age-related expectations, which is often referred to as greater depth, a child having a greater depth of understanding for their year level. So if we take, for example, the tests and the school wants to do them in the same way they always have done, they will still be releasing scale scores and pass marks. So this is the pass mark for last year. Now, if a child was demonstrating a level of ability that was age-related on their test, they would need to score a scale score of 100, and last year that was 25 out of 40. Now, 25 out of 40 is not just one paper. That's adding both reading papers together. When you add the marks from both reading papers, which are equally weighted at 20 marks each, if the children scored 25 marks in total across two papers, then they would have been age-related expectation. Anything below that is a working towards mark, and greater depth would have been usually anything above 110, so 36 and above, so quite high. So what about the maths then? So again, this is the scaled score and raw score for adding both maths papers together, and they would have been 60 marks in total, and their children would have needed to score 35 in total across both papers to receive a scale score of 100 and a pass mark, age-related pass mark for year 2. Anything below 35 would have been working towards, and then anything 53 and above would have been a greater depth score. For the grammar papers, again, this is when you add the spelling and grammar scores together, a total of 40 marks, 20 on each, and the pass mark was 23. So when you add both the child's spelling score and the grammar score together, if they got 23 and above, they were meeting the age-related expectation, but anything below that would have been working towards, and anything above 34 would have been a greater 34 and above would have been a greater depth score. So let's have a quick look at what the reading test papers look like. This is an example of the paper 1 reading paper. Now, this is the easier of the two because the children have a small bit of text. As you can see here, there's a diagram. It's a non-fiction text, so it's facts information about ants. And they would have to read these small parts here, and then the questions underneath would be directly related to the text in front of them. So it's easy for them to pull out the information and tick the correct answer when answering the questions. 20 marks in total on this, and it takes 30 minutes. The second reading paper is slightly more difficult because there are 2 booklets. There is a separate reading booklet with a text in it and a separate answer booklet. So the children would have to read 2 texts and then answer questions on both, referring back and forth between the answer booklet and the reading booklet. So a little bit more tricky than the other one. 40 minutes this, so it takes a little bit longer, but again 20 marks, so the same as the other paper. Here's some more examples of questions from that reading paper. So there's usually a fiction text, which is fiction, and then there is a non-fiction text, which is usually facts information, and the children have to read both and then answer the questions. And here are a couple of example questions. Look at the section headed reuse, which is here. Find and copy the word that means the same as giving, given away. Okay, so they would have to scan here and find the word that means the same as this. Look at the section headed recycle, so it tells them where to look. Give one thing that can be made from recycled plastics. So they'd have to scan down here. What can be made from recycled plastics? So bags, bottles, things like that would be the correct answer. All right, the spelling test then. This is what it looks like. You would give the children this, which is their spelling paper, and they would have to fill in the missing word here when the teacher read it out. So Hannah ran faster than Lee, and the teacher would say, the word is faster, spell the word faster, and they would have to write it in the gap there. 20 spellings in total, each worth a mark, so 20 marks. It says 15 minutes there, but that's just, it's not a strictly timed test. It takes roughly about that time. Grammar and punctuation, you've got 20 marks on this and 20 minutes approximately. And there's sort of different types of questions. Tick one box to show where a comma should go. Draw lines to match the words with the contracted spelling. So did not becomes didn't. I will becomes I'll. You have becomes you've. So the children would have to demonstrate their understanding and learning from Year 2 grammar. And a couple more different types of questions from this paper. You should be able to find a full walkthrough of a Year 2 grammar paper on our channel. So do have a look on our channel for that and check it out. So here there's asked to write Joe's question to his mum in the speech bubble, but remember to use the correct punctuation. If they don't put the capital letters and full stops in or question marks, they wouldn't get that 2 marks there. Again, tick where you will find a comma. We've done those ones already. Okay, so that's just more of those questions. I really don't like washing my face. I have to do it. So which conjunction would go in that place there? The children have to tick 1. The correct answer here is but. So what about the maths then? So there is 2 tests. The first one is an arithmetic test, 25 marks in total. It's the easier of the 2 because it's just testing the children's knowledge of adding, subtraction, dividing, multiplying, fractions, and these are all things they would have learnt in their lessons. And also the questions are from not just the Year 2 curriculum, but also the Year 1 curriculum, which is why you've got easier questions like 5 add 7, 19 take away 9, and they get slightly harder as the test goes on. Okay. The reasoning paper then, it's 35 minutes, so slightly longer, and 35 marks available. You have these worded questions here, and this is testing them on lots of different areas, not just number. You could have some questions on shapes. You could have some questions on bar charts, graphs. You could have some questions on symmetry. Everything that's in the Year 2 curriculum will be tested in these papers. So here is a measurement question. Use a ruler to measure the length of the car. The children have to demonstrate an accurate measurement there. Tick the numbers. 2 of the numbers are in the wrong bag. Draw a cross on each of the numbers. So this is about understanding that here we've got what the sequence and pattern is, or is it odd and even numbers? It's odd and even numbers here, so which ones are odd, which ones are even? Other types of questions, you've got this one here, which is a worded question. Children find these really tricky, but that's why it's worth 2 marks. Amy plants 4 rows of carrots. There are 3 carrots in each row. Okay, so that's a multiplication one. You've got 4 times 3, which is 12. A rabbit eats 2 carrots. So then 12 take away 2 is 10. So that's why it's a bit tricky, because there's 2 parts to it. It's a 2-step problem. So these are the kinds of things you'd probably want to work on to help your child. CGP books are out there on the internet to find on Amazon. And they also have packs as well with practice papers. So have a look on CGP if you wanted to do some revision with your child. And keep it light. Remember, they're only in Year 2. Don't overly stress the child or panic them. We never, when we administered the Year 2 SATs, told them that they were serious tests. We just looked at them as doing little quizzes. And again, now that the government have made these optional, it's not really about the grade they get. It's about getting an idea of what the children know, what they don't know. So then you can help them and teach them the things that they need to work on. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found this video helpful. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We have lots of people viewing our videos who do not subscribe. And if you subscribe, you'll get a notification when we release a new video on primary education. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.